Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And in today's video, we're going to be diving into Chelsea's latest signing, 19-year-old Argentinian centre-back Aaron Anselmino, who is set to join for £17 million. We'll sign a long-term contract. Going to spend a little bit of time back on loan at Boca Juniors, probably before going on loan to Strasbourg, and then maybe in a few years we might see him at Chelsea. But he's definitely someone that's up and coming in South American football, attracting interest from the likes of Man United as well. So there's been some competition for his name. Only 10 appearances for Boca Juniors, but you know that doesn't seem to be putting too many clubs off. Certainly doesn't put Chelsea off. But to get the lowdown on Anselmino, strengths, weaknesses, what we can potentially expect from him. Delighted to be joined by football scout Ricardo. Mate, welcome to the channel. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. Anselmino, talk to me. What can you tell me about him? Obviously, he's played very few games for Boca Juniors, but what's his kind of rise been like? He's come through the academy there, but only 10 first-team games. So scouting-wise, clubs must have been looking at what he was doing in the academy.
That's right. So firstly, I just want to say thank you for having us on. It's a real pleasure. But yeah, that's right. He joined Boca Juniors in 2012, and his rise has been absolutely incredible since. He's captain at the youth side as well on occasion. So he's really been a leader in that youth setup. And I think that spurred him on to really progress into the first team, and doing it at 19 years old is extraordinary when you think about it, because Boca Juniors is one of the biggest teams in South America. So when you're representing that club with that stature, that pressure at 19 years old, it's just a testament to your character.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of kind of what sort of a player he is, obviously there's not a huge body of work to go on. As I said, 10 first-team appearances in terms of senior football. From what you've kind of looked at yourself, from the games you've watched, from the footage you've seen of him, what kind of a defender would you say he is? Does he fit that mold of a modern-day defender in terms of comfortable on the ball, can play it out from the backs, not afraid to get stuck into a tackle? What sort of play style would you describe him as?
Absolutely. I mean, he's made 10 appearances for the first team so far. 80% of those have been as a centre-back. 20% of those have been as a defensive midfielder. So that just goes to show his ability on the ball. He's comfortable, he's calm, he's assertive on the ball. But let's talk about his defensive aspects first. So he's a proactive defender. He likes to engage. He doesn't sit off as much. He's not a covering defender as such. But he's adequate to deal with nearby threats, which gives him a good solid base to work with. He's very tentative and constantly checks his surroundings, which is one of my favourite traits as a young footballer, when they're very alert of what's going on around them. And I think that gives him a good body of work to work with. Like I say, he likes to step out from the back line and engage and try and steal the ball away from opponents. He's quick, he's got good acceleration, he's strong, he's intelligent, but he's very calculated and measured in his approach and how he defends. So he chooses the right moments of when to engage and when to just allow that attacker to have that little bit of a time on the ball, so then he can make a challenge after. He's very smart and calculated in how he approaches situations.
Obviously, you mentioned he played in midfield. He can play in midfield. Do you look at him as obviously still 19. There is maybe a chance that, he could switch positions or something like that. We don't really know. But do you very much look at him as a defender that can play in midfield rather than maybe a midfielder that's playing at centre-back? Do you think it's like he's primarily a defender, but he's got that game intelligence where he can play in the midfield if needed?
Absolutely. I mean, especially under Enzo Maresca's formation and philosophy, and I'll tell you why. Because I prefer Anselmino when the play's in front of him. I don't really like him when he's got his back to goal. Enzo Maresca likes to play with a deep-lying midfielder as opposed to a defensive midfielder. So he wants his deep-lying midfielder to get on the ball and create things. And I don't think Anselmino's that type of player. I think when he's playing as a midfielder, he's more of a destroyer rather than a playmaker, whereas Enzo prefers a playmaker. That's why I can see Anselmino's future being as a centre half.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think he's been signed as a centre half. I mean, to be honest, it's not really a position that we need more players in, nor is midfield. So quite kind of what the plan is for him, I'm not really sure. Obviously, every player's got weaknesses and whatnot, especially at such a young age. There's going to be weaknesses, going to be parts of his game that he needs to work on. What would you say are the areas that, that need improving? What would you say his weak points are?
Yeah, there's one that I've noticed has improved slightly throughout his time in the first team, and that's, again, a testament to his character and trying to improve on those weaknesses. And sometimes he can be too quick to step out, where he doesn't really realize his own pace and he approaches it too quickly. And another one was, especially this could hinder him in the Premier League, where, let's say if he's got a dynamic winger running at him, or a forward running at him, he can be a bit too square. And when you're a winger or a forward, the first thing you do is attack the front foot, and that just off balances defenders. And I think he's starting to learn to maybe approach things a bit more side on angly, so he's maybe has that ability to move left or right. He is starting to learn that, and you can see it building in his game, but he's not quite there yet. So against dynamic runners, he does struggle a little. And another one, he likes to attack the ball. He stands at 6'1". When the ball's in the air, he likes to run up to attack it. When he's against the forward and the battling for it, he doesn't really have that leap to try and win the ball. So he's leaping, his strength and his lower legs need to improve from have that ability to battle.
Is he good in the air?
He's good in the air when he can attack the ball. So he likes to have a run up, a couple of steps so he can go and engage with the forward. Whereas sometimes when the ball's coming over him, he times his leap quite off, which leaves him off balance and he loses a header. So he needs to have that run up in order to win and be more physically dominant in the air.
I mean, do you look at him, like, obviously it's hard to sort of throw ahead to the future, but do you very much look at him as someone that will be part of the Argentina squad moving forward? Is he someone that you think that maybe for the 26 World Cup, a couple of years' time, it could be a bit too soon, but do you think he's someone that will be in and around the national team over the next couple of years?
If I'm perfectly honest, absolutely, because there's already been talk about it. So if the rumours are already starting to spread, then there's something within it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was speaking to a friend of mine that works out in South America, and he was saying there's literally already talk about him playing in that Argentina setup, and they're already excited about bringing him into that setup. So, like I say, I absolutely can see him playing in that. And if you're good enough to play for Argentina, there's absolutely no reason why you can't make that step up for Chelsea. I'm not saying he's going to go into the first team straight away, but if he shows the level of determination, characteristics he is shown now, he could have a bright future at Chelsea.
And obviously, in terms of South American talent, we obviously know like Chelsea are tapping into that market now. We signed Pires, we've signed Esteval, signed Washington, Santos, Angelo, etc. With Anselmino, where does he? Obviously, he's a defender, but where does he kind of rank amongst kind of talents in South America? Is he obviously one of the more highly regarded ones?
Absolutely, he's one of the leading defenders in South America. There's a couple of others when you look at Valentino Gomez, players like that have been linked to a move to Benfica recently. So there is other players coming through, and Valentino Gomez is Argentine himself. But just what I've seen in a short amount of 10 games from Anselmino is nothing short of exceptional, because it looks like he's been playing within that first team for years. He's maturity, he's accomplished, he's calculated, he's good on the ball, he plays to his strengths. He does everything you want in a young footballer superbly.
I mean, like, it's hard to predict this, but how good do you think he could become? Because from what you've been saying, it sounds like he's got all the attributes to be a top defender. You know, he's obviously not fazed by pressure. You know, that the fans, particularly in South America, Boca Juniors, massive club, massive pressure coming through the ranks, dealing with that at a young age. He seems to be switched on. He's got the right mindset, the right mentality. Obviously, there's a few things that need ironing out in his game, naturally. But, I mean, how good do you think this guy could become?
I think if given the platform, and look, I've got no magic ball. I don't know how somebody's going to settle in an environment. But if he settles and he's given that platform and consistency to perform, the world's his oyster. He is so comfortable in possession, and he's so good at defending. His tackling is outrageous. I mean, from the short 10 games that he's played, I have looked at a couple of statistics. He's averaging 2.7 tackles per game. Against Chelsea's full squad, that's only behind Moses Caicedo, who averages 3 per game. And accurate passes, especially long balls, he sits second within the Chelsea squad. And he's got the highest completion rate out of anybody in the Chelsea squad. Only Enzo Fernandez sat in front of him for long balls per game. But Anselmino had a better completion rate. So that goes to show his ability to defend and his ability on the ball, in my eyes. Because if he's putting numbers out like that, it's insane for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, there's definitely some level of excitement. I think we're going to have to wait a few years to see him. I think the plan is for him. Obviously, he's going to remain at Boca on loan for another 6 months or maybe another season. Possibly might then go to Strasbourg on loan after that. I suspect it might be a couple of seasons until we maybe see him around the first team squad. Just last thing, mate. Are you surprised that he's decided to join Chelsea and kind of the multi-club sort of project, knowing the competition for places, knowing that, you know, he might just become one of those players that could get a little bit lost in the system and then flipped on? I mean, are you surprised that he's taken that decision? There was obviously interest from United, where you'd think that there'd probably be a clearer path to the first team more quickly. What were your thoughts on him choosing Chelsea?
I think, look, Chelsea, a huge football club, and it's an honour for any player to represent Chelsea, to be honest. I think, in a way, it is a smart move by him, because let's say you join United, it's kind of thrown him in at the deep end. Do you know what I mean? And I think he might not be ready for that in terms of the Premier League level. So moving to Chelsea, you've got that experience of there's others around him that are going to be in the same position and breaking through at the same time. So he'll be more at home and more at ease, because he's not the only one that's getting pressured into moving into the first team. That makes sense. But I think the approach of making him stay in Argentina for another 6 months is an excellent move by Chelsea. I think that's probably the most smartest thing they can do, because he's going to be getting more first team experience. Whereas if he just come to Chelsea straight away, he'll be playing under 21s football or what have you, maybe a couple of games in the first team in the Conference League or what have you. But when he's playing week in, week out in the first team with Boca Juniors, I think that's a sensible move by Chelsea. But so I'm absolutely not surprised to see him move at Chelsea, because if I was a youngster looking at it, I'd be thinking, right, they are stockpiling on youngsters. But if they show them a clear plan on how they want to bring these youngsters through all as one and make them as a complete team for years to come, you want to be a part of that. But it also shows his belief in his own ability that he can make that breakthrough. And I think as any footballer, you've got to have that belief.
No, absolutely. I'm looking forward to sort of seeing what he's going to do. You've kind of excited me a little bit in terms of what we can potentially expect. As I said, anyone's guess as to when we might see him in a blue shirt, but
yeah,
it sounds like he's got the attributes, the mindset, the mentality to become a top-level defender. Like with all these youngsters we're signing, it's just, can we give them the platform and the opportunity to develop into the players we think they can become? That's going to be the big thing. But mate, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it. If the people want to check out more of what you do, let them know where to go.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Me tags on me just next to my name there. But you can also, I've started out a YouTube that scouts young players. I've done an episode on Aaron Anselmino, so you can go and check it out on my channel. And don't forget to sub if you're there as well.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I'll link all that in the description. Channel will be tagged in the title. Go and show Antonio some love, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Get him up to coming up to 1,000.
Yeah, I've literally just started it a week ago, so I'm like 100
guys,
away from
get him to 1,000 subs. Channel will be tagged in the title. Go and show him some love. Make sure you please do that. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Smash the like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and we'll catch you again in another one soon.